Good evening and welcome to everyone who has tuned in today's LinkedIn Live Empower Hour for Her. And we are very excited to bring you dynamic and inspiring discussions as we launch the fifth cohort of the Women Startup Program and an opportunity to hear directly from some of the experts and alumni from the program. Before we begin, let me share a quick intro to the Women Startup Program that is in conversation these days. WSP, which is called in short, is a flagship program at NSR Cell since its inception in 2016. So far, we have incubated 600 plus ventures with close to 23,000 learners engaged with many success stories and have come a long way creating history and legends of tomorrow. Today's event is special because it brings together not only the brilliant women who are leading their own ventures, but also our mentors, Naga Sir and Professor Suresh, who have guided, supported them along the way. Our panelists come from diverse backgrounds and bring a wealth of experience, and they've agreed to share their insights, not just on how to survive in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, but how to thrive as well. Let us take a moment to introduce our distinguished speakers. Naga Prakasham. Sir, he's a residence mentor at NSR Cell since 12 years and a partner at Acumen. Professor Suresh Bhagwatullah, he's a professor of entrepreneurship area at IIM Bangalore, the creator of WSP and has been there since its inception in 2016. Rashi is the WSP4 alumni and founder of Alana, India's first specialized lip care brand, also recognized as the top 10 women entrepreneurs in India organic skincare market. Aditi Madan, very familiar to all of you, I guess, a WSP 3.2 alumni and founder of Blue Pine Foods, and has been opener of Shark Tank Season 1 and winner of so many distinguished awards. So our discussion today will focus on their stories, how they have built and scaled their businesses, the lessons they have learned along the way, and how our mentors and faculty have played a pivotal role in providing crucial insights and advice. We invite you all to engage with us throughout this session. Feel free to drop your questions and comments in the chat, and we'll do our best to address them during the discussion. So without further ado, let's kick off this exciting conversation. Let's start with you, Naga sir. Your experience as a mentor in this program has been invaluable. You have guided numerous entrepreneurs throughout the ups and downs of their journey, helping them navigate some challenging opportunities and also how to seize the opportunities, right? So what has been your experience like mentoring women entrepreneurs from this program? Would you like to share some of the insights
Sure.
from?
Yeah, it was always, very, very pleasure in, kind of mentoring the women entrepreneurship because we do support quite a lot of programs. I think the earlier version, that MPWE, which we used to have, I think probably once a year, we do have a few women coming in. From that day onwards, 12 years back, I remember that, every meeting I have with any women entrepreneur, they come with a notepad and a pen, right? They'll just make notes. I was just joking.
Yeah.
Even yesterday, I was talking to one of our social entrepreneur, and I gave like 3 areas that, okay, we should be looking at it. And I'm about to leave. And he was asking, he says, "So what are the 3 names that you just told me, right?" And I said, "Where were you while I was talking to you, right?" So I showed him an email from a women entrepreneur that here is an email I got just 2 days back from a person. And these 4 names I mentioned during the meeting, she mentioned. And this is the 5th email she sent following up on that, saying that, okay, you connected 3 people, the one person you've not connected yet. Just please do so, right? So I said that's the difference. I think very, very serious. I think that's a very interesting part because which also reciprocated when the mentee is very responsive and looking forward to have a meeting and taking value of every minute of it. I think which also encourages us also to be more supportive and all that. So that's the number one point. The number 2 is about various women programs, especially WSP. We always had fantastic a group of people, right? There is a person who 10th failed, and she sent me a certificate after finishing the program, and she said that, wow, this is the first time I ever got some college certificate, right? And she's doing a crores in revenue, and she wanted this support, and she wanted to show this saying that, I have done it. So that is the one part. And the age group from like 19 to 65, I think a different kind of women coming in. I think I still remember in our WSP2, we were in Visakhapatnam. And in Vizag, there was a lady came for the interview, right? We did a physical interview and she was presenting and she was showing the email of Suresh Bhagwatula. She said, everybody in my family kind of told me I'm wrong when I applied for this program because there is a newspaper ad about WSP in Vizag. And she saw the ad and applied. And she's been out of work for like 20 years taking care of the family. She was an architect. And the family said, you're out of touch 20 years, you're going to apply, who's going to respond? And she took a printout of the email and came and said, this is enough, I'm done. I don't need to be part of the program. The whole family shut up now because I got this email from Professor Suresh. I think these are all these very, very interesting, anecdotes. I think I can go on, write a book on Women Startup Program itself. I mentioned few of the entrepreneurs. There's one I always really like what she was doing from Karnataka, now sitting in Himachal and taking Himachal products beyond Apple, right? So working with the families who forgotten about traditional medicinal like rhododendron flower and sea buckthorn and those kind of things, to people in Tirupura where Diveshri and Silpa Karman working on, picking up these bamboo kind of products. She sent me a bamboo flask, taking inputs, technological input and all that. I think that's the other part is about the area, region, right? So across the country that we have covered. And so that's what the beauty of this program is. There is no age bar, there is no regional bar, there is no bar at all, right? You set the bar, we will be supporting you. I think that's the part I'm really, really enjoying. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Naga sir, for those insights. It's clear that your guidance has been a game changer for so many of us. Also, Naga sir is also very closely associated with Startup Tamil Nadu, and I would say the last outreach that we had, the virtual roadshow with them, was so well done. I think and it was also, I think, the first roadshow that we did in a regional language, so we really felt, very relatable, and they felt very relatable. So thank you, Naga sir, for connecting us with Dr. Prem and his team. So we look forward to such kind of partnerships, and we are adding, so many of the ecosystem partners and the partners who will be co-incubating along with us for the program. Now, let's hear from one of the founders who has benefited from the mentorship from Naga sir and many other faculty, including Professor Suresh. So Aditi, could you share a bit about your journey in this program and what were some of the key takeaways that you have applied to your business from the mentorship experience?
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Professor Suresh and Naga sir. I'm so honored and blessed to be part of this live session, firstly. And yes, as an entrepreneur coming from the Himalayas, to tell my experience, I'd never even thought that I would be part of IIM Bangalore or NSRCL. And when I heard about Goldman Sachs, I had applied for it, I guess, and then somehow couldn't get through. And then COVID happened, lockdown. But then I was wondering whether I would be selected or not, because coming from the food industry, I was really, curious. But I applied, and then every phase was different for me as an individual, as an entrepreneur. Firstly, from Himalayas, a northeastern region, because I was exploring NSRCL for the first time in my life. I was coming across NSRCL. I had never met or known anyone from NSRCL or IIM Bangalore, right? So applying it whenever the results would be out, I just used to whole day just fingers crossed, pray and wait for my results to be positive. And through MOOC was a great eye opener for me as an individual, because whatever I had been doing with my co-founders, we all had been doing. It was an eye opener because we could understand that where were we lacking or what kind of mistakes we were making. Because not coming from an MBA background and not coming from any management institute, being a first generation entrepreneur, I had only done it practical way of learning, right? So when I was going through MOOC, it was so much of a blessing that it was an eye opener for me. And there are many phases to it in MOOC itself. And somehow, somewhere, I was also so happy and excited and blessed, because I felt that whatever in few things I was doing, it was right, because whatever was in MOOC, it was correctly related to. So there were a lot of sessions. There were other studies about lean canvas, which I had never drawn in my life before starting Blue Pine Foods. So I came across lean canvas, and when I had to fill it, I could feel it so much because practical learning was there, but we had never filled lean canvas and started the business or even the venture at all. So that was an exciting part. Then navigating through Professor Suresh classes and everything. You get so much. So I was so much passionate with NSR cell that people who might take it wrong also, but when I was in a funeral session, I was in a graveyard, fire burning, and still I was attending Professor Suresh classes because it was the first session that Professor Suresh was delivering on that very day. So I never wanted to miss a single class or single session, because every day, every session was a new eye opener for us. Professor Naga, Professor Handa, everyone coming across, everyone, you get to learn so much, and you get to get their values and ethics rightly built inside an individual. When I came in raw, and then when I came out of the ecosystem of WSP3, though an alumni now, I feel that I have transformed immensely, and so much in gratitude with everything. And besides the pre-incubation and incubation period, coming across, becoming as a POC of one of the groups, I was one of the POC for group 4. So it was at that very moment, we never realized that what we are going through. But when I came out of the incubation program, I realized that I have become a better person and a better leader, and to understand and have empathy and compassion for others as well while doing business at the same point of time. So there are both aspects of learnings. One is personal development, and one is business development also. So we gained so much. We were in kind of a whirlpool. I always say that NSR Cell came as a support system, to as a catalyst to bring us out of that, where we could from incubation we could go to accelerator program, and from accelerator program to becoming part of WTI awards by Niti Aayog and United Nations, and also to applying to Shark Tank and being the first opener of Shark Tank India, and many more. So yes, the knowledge and learning is huge every second, every moment. With the cohort learning itself, it's so much immense. Cohort learning gives so much of strength amongst us. We are 210 WSP3 incubation program groups, where we learn each other from so much, because everybody there is like scientists and educationalists and so pilots and so many squadron leaders and everyone, and we get to learn so much from them, from each other. So that's a strong bonding which has been there for lifelong. So it is an asset that has been delivered to us, and as entrepreneurs, I'm always grateful and thankful to NSRCL.
Thank you, Aditi, for sharing your story. It's truly inspiring to see how the mentorship has also helped to unlock the potential and helped you towards, going towards success and also achieving success. Your achievements truly reflect the hard work and the vision that you have set, and supported by the invaluable mentorship and the crucial guidance from our faculty. For those who are not very familiar with the term MOOC, so we have an online 5-week of course module that we do, where we help you to understand also the basics of entrepreneurial mindset, and also inculcate those, and at the same time also help you build us those 9 channels in the lean canvas. So do join the program if you're at an ideation stage and you have so many ideas in your mind, but you do not know how to go about it. So you can join the Foundations of Entrepreneurship, which is renamed from MOOC right now. So we'll be sharing the link on how you can apply for the program very shortly. Coming to you now, Professor Suresh, you have been deeply involved in shaping the curriculum and the components of MOOC, and otherwise also on the various stages of the program. Could you share your thoughts on the current scenario of the women entrepreneurship, and what are the significant trends that you have observed?
So yeah, I guess from the time we started MPWE many years ago, much before, I think must have been about 22 years since we started MPWE, 2002. And then until 2012, for a few years, we didn't have any program, and then it got morphed into WSP. So MPWE had people who wanted to start and those who already had their ventures. So this gave us an opportunity, WSP and 10K. So those who had ventures could go into 10K. Those who were thinking of starting or early stage could go to WSP. So I think the entire scenario has been changing over the years since the time we had first WSP to what it is right now. There are far more resources in the ecosystems across. There are a lot more incubators, even in very tiny locations. There is money being given out by various governmental agencies as well as CSR-funded incubators. So I guess there is far more choice now than there was in the past. And it could be both a blessing and I wouldn't say curse, but a blessing and choice may actually, if there is choice, then you actually may pick up wrong choices or like stressed out for choices. So having lots of choice is not necessarily always a good thing. So I guess the where we are right now, there are lots of institutions who have their own women entrepreneurship programs now, much closer to where women are located. And so we started off being one of those very unique entities which were working with women entrepreneurs much before it was fashionable. To a time when there's like, I don't want to use spoiled for choice and all, but I would just say there's a lot more choice and a lot more opportunities for women entrepreneurs to learn and start their ventures.
Okay. So, Prof, there's a couple of questions that we had collected earlier before the live session. So there's a question which has come across on how are women entrepreneurs not just boosting the economy, but also making a real difference in the society, specifically in fields that are usually male dominated.
So I think especially in entrepreneurship, there's a term that Rama mentioned once many years ago, which is apparently attributed to Mao, that women hold half the sky. So if women hold half the sky, then they should actually be represented in most places that are not necessarily power oriented. As long as you are capability oriented, then there should definitely be more opportunities. Gravity is definitely not the same for men and women entrepreneurs. It's getting better. It's far, far better than what it used to be. But we have a long way to go before we can say that it's an equal opportunity institution for women entrepreneurs, especially in the more opportunity entrepreneurship space.
Okay. Thank you, Professor, for sharing those insights on evolving landscape of the women entrepreneurship. Coming to you, Rashi, you have also made remarkable progress throughout the program. So very supportive towards the community. Have always agreed, like I said before, on though you are part of the Central India and considered also as a tier 2, tier 3, right? So what has been your most significant takeaway? And how has this program helped in reaching your business goals coming from Indore, place like Indore, which is booming at this point? I'm assuming you're from Indore, Bhopal.
Bhopal, yes.
But more or less the same. But
Yeah.
let us know, how do you think that your experience and what is your message for the ones who are coming from tier 2, tier 3?
So, actually, I'd say that my journey with NSRCell started more like a serendipity. So, I'd already started my business idea. I was trying to pivot into a niche. Earlier, Alana started as a natural skincare brand. And, I was realizing that it's no more something which is of the need to the consumer in 2018. And back then, there were enough and more brands that were offering natural skincare products. And I wanted to pivot into something which was more meaningful. And that's where we realized that there existed a gap for specifically into lip care, where women usually hid their insecurities behind lipsticks, let's say, and they were very uncomfortable to step out without putting a lip shade on, right? So we realized that this is an issue that should be addressed, because while we have a lot of skincare products, we don't really have many products or that are catering specifically to problems like lip pigmentation and lip aging and so on. And while I had this great insight, it was a struggle to initiate it because obviously it was new, not just in India, but to the world, it's a new concept where a brand would want to particularly, pick a niche which is into a specific category. And for you to be able to define your TAM around it can become a very big problem in that area. So while struggling with basic foundational questions, whether this is genuinely a product market fit, whether my consumer genuinely needs it, am I the right person? Very basic struggles that any entrepreneur starts at the beginning of their journey and even while they're pivoting along the way. So I was scrolling through Instagram and I came across NSR Cell WSP program. I suddenly, became very interested into it. I went on to the website, I enrolled, and I was hoping that I'd get selected because in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, like you rightly said, Ankita, there are very limited opportunities. While the government now has started initiating a lot of support, but it's very recent and still there's a long way to go. And it's predominantly still male oriented, still it is. So it's very difficult and challenging for us to find our place on the road, in the ecosystem. While the digital D2C space has sort of enabled a better equated platform, but still it's a struggle to, have yourself being known out there. So when I joined WSP, my biggest concern was that I have already started with my ideation. Will they ask me to go back onto my business idea? Will they ask me to completely revise what I'm doing if it doesn't make sense? Or will I get a chance to also be a part of a program where they are helping businesses to scale further? And it was a blessing because what I realized was it did not just help me understand that, yes, they allow you to scale your own ideation, that your own ideation that you're working on, but also your foundation gets corrected. Whatever I was probably trying to understand in terms of basic questions, like I just mentioned, your consumer need, your product market fit, your founder equation, having the right resource allocations in your company, your cash flow understandings, so many things are there. And I would say that before that, there is a step 1 and then a step 2, which we usually miss. And mostly people feel that if you've raised funds, it's an overnight success. But that's not how it works. It's never an overnight success. And entrepreneurship, like I always say, is a very lonely journey. And if you have an ecosystem of nurturing women who are your peers, having a buddy like Aditi ma'am was during our cohort, she was an inspiration to so many women. And the buddy program is such a big blessing in NSR Cell. And MOOC and Lean Canvas, of course, ma'am has already touched. But apart from that, we also get mentors from industry experts. I think all of this really strengthens a great foundation to build a sustainable business that then becomes ready to, scale. So scaling then therefore becomes more effective. That's how I basically benefited.
Thank you, Rashi, for sharing our experience. Like we all have mentioned, and I would also, kind of reiterating the fact that our program is also designed to address these challenges head on, at the same time providing women entrepreneurs with, and also aspiring women entrepreneurs with not just the knowledge, but also the skill and the community and support system they need to thrive, specifically if you're coming from a non-metro. So it really helps. Naga sir, we are particularly interested, and Professor Suresh can also pitch in because this is a space that he really likes. Interested in your perspective on exploring unaddressed opportunities for women in the craft and social sector. So these sectors are rich with potential, but often are undeserved and overlooked, right, in traditional entrepreneurial ecosystems. So could you share thoughts on what unique opportunities you see?
In crafts, is it mostly?
Crafts.
Yeah, okay, great. I think interestingly, if you look at the entire women program in last 12 years, if you analyze, there is quite a bit on food, right? And the second would be crafts. So there is all those STEM and tech and all that. That's what I say, millet to machine learning, right? And crafts to all that things what people do. In craft, there are quite a lot of committed entrepreneurs have done really amazing work. the opportunities wise, I think I've written in my book quite a bit about the craft sector, which today kind of down to only 9 million, weavers that we have in the country, which is almost like an IT industry, which should have like 5 million people, probably including the supporting people. There is another 1 or 2 times kind of, right? So that is produced like a $250 billion industry though in IT. So can the crafts could do the similar thing? Absolutely yes, because in the worldwide, maybe we are one of the 5-6 countries still we do crafts, right? So that do have a really good potential. So the way we kind of help and support many of our women entrepreneurs in craft, which we have done very well. There is a Lakshmi in working on Resham door, and she is able to take the Kutch, one of the rug, revive the rug, and able to sell at a very premium in US market for 1 lakh and plus, right? And so that is where we need to be working towards. About, I make always a controversial statement that craft should not be affordable to middle class if it is somebody living in poverty, right? Because today average 5,000 rupee the craftsman making, and whether it is any cluster, whether it is Kanjipuram. I was there in Erode last our women entrepreneur program, Kalayarasi in Ratai, right? So 2 days back, I was with her and I was in Erode. I just went to her village and I was talking to her father, right? 40 years that he's been working on this one. And he's saying his daughter, after quitting an IT job, working on looms, and the mom was telling that, please advise her, sir, she should not be doing this. I think this is a sad part of the industry, but I'm very proud about the younger generation like Kalayarasi, like Lakshmi, and they're all taking this problem and trying to do things differently than their parents have done as well, right? So this is where I think that changes, and she takes the loom and make it smaller, miniaturized, so that she want to give it to every child. So the Jaipurites, Chaudhary ji always tell me, that weaving is like a meditation. So that's how we need to position in a different format, because today there is quite a bit of effort going on multiple front in wellness. I think she's positioning this loom as a meditation part, right? And she was targeting the youngsters, like school children. But an interesting result is that 65-year-old ladies becoming her customers. As what is the reason is that they are lonely at home. They feel like doing something. I'm sure earlier we all see that our grandmas used to make sweater for us, right? So I think this is what she's bringing back to that kind of thing. So that is one part, is about take a look at the sector in a different format and then take it to the different segment which have not in experienced looms and weaving and all. The other part is about, like Lakshmi, just take the crafts position as a premium product and prove the authenticity of it, right? So we have this one of the 10K women program, and she is working on this Aramula mirror, right? This is a metal you polish like a mirror. It's a very beautiful work Kerala has done. It's a lot of work goes on, and now she's trying to figure out how do we kind of make this authenticity proven. And there is a company called Kosa Design, so they will provide a QR code, right? So when a person is making, you wear a device and it'll capture the work, that how much hand movement that you are doing to make the work, and then the QR code is put on the product. You scan it, it'll tell you that where the product is come from, who did it, and authenticity. With the geolocation, it also authenticates about the GA tag as well, right? So like this, we need to bring technology to do the authenticity, and at the same time utilize our ways to position the products in a premium segment, so that we are able to get a better price and have a DNA to pass the benefit back to the weavers. So that is a kind of sectorial focus that I need. I'm sure there are hundreds of women entrepreneurs in all our programs working in crafts. I think they're all trying their best to change the craft sector. I think that is really, really amazing to see. And we started seeing some results as well. There are a lot of initiatives going on. Even Professor Suresh is sending his students, our MBA, PGP students, to the craft cluster so that they do understand what is happening. Otherwise, there is a one kind of people with the gray hair, and like us, me and Suresh, with the kurta guys talking about crafts. So we need to have this kind of guys going to go work for McKinsey as well, start thinking about the craft sector. The last point is about carbon. And I mentioned in my book big time on that, because today's world has two problems: climate change and inequality. Both of them can be solved through social businesses, where crafts is where what you wear, where you live, and what you eat should be sustainable. So crafts is automatically a sustainable fashion. So that means that if US GDP is 6 times more than India, their per capita emission is 6 times more than India. If carbon is a gold, who is rich? So the crafts is already a sustainable fashion. And so that is what some of the entrepreneurs are doing about how do we even give a carbon credit to the weavers, right? So that, there is additional income coming to them. When Elon Musk makes $1 billion selling carbon credit, why not our weavers in Meghalaya? Yeah.
Thank you, Naga sir. So, Professor Suresh, do you have any thoughts on what can the new entrepreneurs or aspiring founders can learn from this particular space? Professor, you have to unmute yourself.
So one of the things that we need to understand is that why do new categories emerge? Why do we pay more for the same category, right? There is coffee that you can get, and there is coffee that you can get. It is the same coffee, but you can pay a lot for this coffee, right? So if you go to Starbucks, is it the best coffee for 250 rupees or 300 or 500 rupees even? Not necessarily. But so does it mean that getting coffee from some Udupi restaurant is bad, or even IIM canteen? Not necessarily. Everybody is selling the same coffee, but the way in which we sell, the narratives around it changes. So those who are in direct to consumers will have to learn how to do storytelling. And this storytelling is very, very important, because if you go abroad and buy any of the products, people are standing in queue for this Birkin bag, or it's a story. If you go talk to any of these big whiskey brands, it's a story. Every place had their own local alcohol. It's just that Scotland also had local alcohol. For some reason, we'll pay lots and lots of money for that particular beverage. So in any segment, there is a hierarchy of prices that are available, right? Idli you get in a 5-star hotel is not the same that you get outside. I'm not saying that the food will be good at a 5-star hotel or whatever that you're paying for. Somebody was saying that there are a couple of people who are now offering curated meals at their home for 5,000 rupees a meal. So it's a story. I mean, people are buying into those narratives, people are buying into those experiences. I think given the fact that we are more social media oriented, we have a lot more opportunities to directly interact with consumers. It is not like the story could be from multiple points of view. Other day, somebody was saying that, continuing with what Naga said about handloom, if you don't get excited when somebody says that it is hand spun, hand woven Jamdani sari, which costs you 4.5 lakh rupees, cotton, and if that doesn't excite you, then we are lost it. Because it doesn't look rich, it doesn't look fancy. It's a cotton sari, which is very simple, but it's a completely handmade product. We pay tons of money for a switch watch because they say it's a handmade product. Switch watch is far lesser accurate than the 300 rupee quartz watch that you get on streets. But it's not about story. A watch is no longer about time, it's signaling. And they started to get into that space. And if you're very wealthy, you'll have to buy a watch, 5 crores, 7 crores. I don't know. Ambani may even, like, it could be GDP of a small state just on their wrist. Similarly, like if somebody doesn't get excited by saying that hand spun, hand woven Jamdani 200 count, then we will have to learn why people are not respecting that. Like it's a craft that is so uniquely located in one geographical place, like West Bengal, and they are the only ones who can do 200 count Jamdani cotton saris. It's hand spun, hand woven. cotton that is indigenous, skills that are local, capabilities that are local. And that is where we should be focusing on going forward. How do we start to tell these narratives that start getting somebody higher prices? It's no longer about value for money. It has to be value for story.
Okay. So, Professor, also now I don't know, it's a very stereotypical thing that, and for the ones who have also tuned in, we are starting an accelerator specifically for craft. So we will be letting you all know, because we feel that though it's so much prevalent in our country, but somewhere we are failing in giving the right connects. So, Prof, if you could share with us on what are the different criteria that we look in when we are actually selecting some of these from the craft sector, whether it could be from an impact side of it or something very different. So when they wish to join an accelerator or an incubation program, so what do you think that you would typically look at that idea?
So in an accelerator, there could be lots, but specifically for a craft accelerator, it's no longer about craft, right? For instance, when you're buying, unlike food, we eat continuously. You buy 2,000 rupee wall hanging, it is there for life. 2,000 rupee snack that you buy for 4 people, biryani from Meghna, 3 hours later, we're ready to eat another 2,000 rupees worth of biryani, right? So that is not the case for a wall hanging. So we also need to understand how do we create alternative values, because the functionality has come down. We don't use pots anymore. We don't use, so what should terracotta people do? So how do we now leverage the capabilities that the terracotta artisans have? They have wonderful capabilities. Now, can we convert those into murals? Because architecture and interior design is going up. So can we start to use these as murals that people can start to put up? And in murals, could we start to have some of these artisans from Chhattisgarh to come and paint up a wall, right? So the tick sizes are going up. Like you bought a 20 crore house. So now the tick size has gone up in terms of like getting one small wall done. You could start to charge extremely large sums of money if you tell the story, right? And one of the crafts that have really done very well, although it's extremely commercialized, but I still like it for the fact that they have created multiple categories, which is pitchwai painting. So from a traditional pitchwai painting, they kind of deconstructed the symbols. So you could see pitchwai painting on wedding cards, you can see pitchwai paintings on walls, you can see pitchwai paintings on decals. Maybe in 3 years' time, we are like sick and tired of pitchwai that we don't want to look at it anymore. But the fact is that from what was seen as a traditional religious hanging behind behind the idol in Nathdwara, it's done very well as a segment. And apparently, they are now giving very Zen type pitchwai paintings, which is very nicely lovely blue color with one little lotus and one cow, and 20,000 rupees, because that matches your aesthetics of your living room. So it's no longer about the painting, it's about how do you get aesthetics into the living room, and you're in a different tick size, right? So start to look at looking at the way in which we could do the functionality differently and then get into spaces where money is no longer an issue, right? So same goes with pottery, same goes with saris. Saris have also done very well. Handloom is a wonderful story there. And other crafts will have to start to work. And Creative Dignity is doing some wonderful experiment in repurposing functionality of some of these.
Okay, thank you, Professor. I'm not sure if you have some more time. You have a class you did mention when we met.
No, I can take one more question, but let others talk. Let others talk. So it's okay.
One question to you, Professor. So there's a question from Shweta. She says that I'm working on a platform to connect different craftsmen. And can this be converted to business? I'm at present in a 9-to-5 job, but really feel for these artisans. And Naga sir, you could also pitch in that.
The first thing is like, please don't leave your job. You can do it on the side. I don't think you should let go of your job until you're very sure. The platform is not the issue right now, because even Instagram is a platform. There are tons of places where platform. It's about like, how do you get people to start to believe? And so what should your platform do? As in, if you say that my platform is only for architects, and anything that can get into interior design, people can come here, because all products are curated for architects, right? So then you are looking at a particular segment, or you say that this is a platform for wedding sarees. You're interested in wedding sarees, come here, because we have an exclusive set of wedding sarees that we have curated from across the country. So come look at it, right? So figure out what specific domain that would want to go to. A generic platform is no longer going to be helpful. Going down and being specific for a particular group of consumers, I guess, is likely to get eyeballs, because when I know I want to look for a wedding sari or wedding gifts, I know I could go there. Right? So, and wedding is a big market, and we haven't really cracked that wedding market. I think we should focus all our crafts into wedding gifts, and both for the wedding party and for people who are attending weddings. I think it's a huge space that should definitely be cracked.
Sure. Yes, Professor, totally
Yeah.
agree. Naga, sir,
I'll drop off.
you have to. Can you not postpone?
Okay, I'll wait for a couple of minutes. And then
Just
go,
to,
yeah.
you're from the founders. Naga, sir, here I have a question. I mean, from one of the participants.
Yeah.
Investor, what do you look for in a startup that tells you it has potential? And this has been the ongoing on their mind, that, what is the eligibility criteria, and how can founders get their businesses ready to meet those expectations, irrespective of any sector?
In respect to?
Irrespective of any sector, like what do you
Yeah. So, see, one of the thing, whenever I do the session for entrepreneurs, I always ask this two questions, right? One is about, can you hear the sunrise? And can you sing a song, right? If in an audience of 200 people, if I say, can you hear, anybody can sing a song, there's one person raises a hand, right? I ask the question that, if I walk into a first standard classroom, I ask the same question, what happened? And everybody raises a hand. So now only one person. So what happened to us from 6 years to whatever the age we are in now? Every yes and every no define who we are. So we're all becoming, complied to some of the conformations, and, fear, all that thing just coming into play. And the second question about, I always say that, can you hear the sunrise, right? So that means that in an audience of sometime people of 100, 200, whatever, there's after some time they'll say, yeah, the bird chirping and all that, right? So if the eyesight is the what you are waiting for, you are missing out what your ear is telling you. So that means that you listen to all your senses, your sensitivity increases, right? When that increases, the problem around you will start bothering you. When the problem around you start bothering you, each one of the problem is an opportunity. So just don't look for all these, trending sectors. What are the future technologies? Nobody have no clue, right? So there is somebody creates something, and until it become a breakthrough, that person is called as useless, right? There are 1,000 things are getting, probably people are working on, the one will click, and that become a trend that everybody. So you become a trend setter than followers, then you don't have to worry about anybody, right? So if you copy, like, so if Ola copies Uber, when Uber sells idlis, Ola need to sell idli as well, right? There is no link between idli and cab, right? And they were all, touted as this, oh, wow, big companies without zero, capital investment, no owning, no cars, but the largest car company in the world. Today, they're making bikes. So this is where I think trending sectors, if they copy, I'm sure they themselves have no idea what the trend is going to be next, and they'll get caught up. So always believe in that problem statement. Listen to the sunrise, become sensitive. You will find thousands of problems around us. India's only strength today is the problems that we have, right? Every problem is an opportunity for you to solve. And once you pick the problem, then you behave like a 6-year-old, whether you are good for A.R. Rahman audition or not, start singing. Doesn't matter how good you are. right? And that is what I think we tell our students as well, right? What Suresh course is about, do your venture. We'll tell the people that get out of the building, right? I tell them that go stand in our gate at IMB and you will see India, right? You don't have to read 100 pages of document. So there's a guy riding a BMW, there is somebody riding a Maruti Alto, there is a KTM bike, 14 lakhs, and there is a Maruti Alto, right? And TVS 50, right? 50 car, 50,000 bucks. There's a guy going on a decathlon with all the gears in the bicycle as if he's going to Mars. You have a security guard next to him as a rusted BSA cycle coming from a nearby village, right? There's somebody begging. So this is the India, right? Look at whose problem that you want to solve and then pick that and just go at it. I'm sure every problem, if there is a pain point is very, very strong, I'm sure you will definitely successful. Don't keep looking at what is the trending sector that I want to jump in and start working on. I want people to become trend setters. I've always give this example when you earlier also asked about the women in entrepreneurship is male dominated. I think those are all thrown away quite a lot. If we analyze all our women program members, right, the entrepreneurs, the one I always give an example is about Shruti Shetty. She does a goodbye service, right? Sitting at home, phone call, and she get remains of their loved ones, from any part of the world back home. And during COVID, hundreds of people have been helped by her because they can't even see their loved one, right? So ask them that, what do you tell your family or friends what job you are in? So I don't care, right? Because I'm doing this very, very interesting work and I'm very happy that I'm helping the people. And similarly, there was another person, right? So her father was running a manufacturing company supplying machineries to defense. And he was ailing, so she was pulled into the company and she first walked into manufacturing, the shop floor. Everybody was looking at that, what this girl is doing here, right? But within 2 years, she's able to change the way the company was operating into profitability. I've seen another woman entrepreneur says that I fired my father-in-law. I made my husband a CTO and took the company to 100 crores. I sold it. And she told me in front of them. So this is the part that people always need to look at, is that there is always support there, right? Don't let your dream have expiry date. I think just keep working on the dream. I'm sure the whole world will conspire to support you. And whether it is family, whether it is, NSR Cell or someone else, I'm sure there is always out there to support you. So don't let the dream die, dream anything. That's what, there is no bar on any venture that you could work on. We can maybe list out in my 12 years, all the women entrepreneurs, the area that they work on, you'll be really, really amazed that what and all they are doing. So I think that the message to all of you is dream big. Yeah, you can solve any problem.
Totally agree with you, Naga sir. I mean, entrepreneurship is not just about creating businesses, but also solving problem, creating opportunities, and making a difference, right? So we all have to think about that. So now coming to you, Aditi and Rashi, and this is for both of you. We'll take turns and we'll see how you are able to, put that up. So how has, and this is from one of the questions that has come up. So how has working with other women entrepreneurs, if you're collaborating with them, or if you have also interacted with them, whether in WSP or elsewhere, changed the way you look, the way you see leadership and decision making? So were there any challenges that you faced along the way? So would like to hear from you, Aditi, Rashi. One of you could just share your insights.
Aditi ma'am, you want to go first?
You could also go, yes.
Whatever, ma'am. I believe that basically a few things, like I mentioned, first of all, it was like how I mentioned that Aditi ma'am herself was a buddy, to our cohort. And understanding that she is running a full-time business, obviously has family obligations, and, you as a woman are playing many roles, and despite of that, every moment I would see her promptly respond to any WhatsApp messages that would come from the cohort, and instant responses, any person she would know in the ecosystem, in her network, for maybe suppliers, or, it could be anybody that they could be connecting to a marketing agency or anything. She was always there. Similarly, there were others in the cohort who had complementary skill sets. So for instance, because I had an experience running into, social media, so I took a session for, my cohort peers that how could I help them with their Instagram strategies. Similarly, there were others who had a very good understanding of supply chain management, or somebody who knew how to handle, say, strategizing about, because she was in HR, so she could tell us about how to hire and where to look for the right kind of resources for our companies. So there is so much camaraderie between the ecosystem and the way everybody comes through for each other. It's just one ping on WhatsApp and you would see everybody responding. And even the alumni are very responsive. They are also very, very helpful when it comes to you wanting any kind of experience and support. This builds a feeling in you that you're supported, that you are not alone, and you have like a full support ecosystem that is right there for you. You just have to call somebody or message somebody, and you will come to know about the right contact. I feel that this itself is the biggest learning that we can take from anyone, because for your particular business, nobody knows better than you. Obviously, you will have to learn and try everything. But if you can just support each other to be right there with the right help and support whenever needed, that itself, I'd say, is the biggest blessing that you can get out of the program. Aditi ma'am, you can add to, what I'm saying.
Yeah, before I
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
ask Tashi as well, were there any warning signs or moments that you overlooked which became very important lessons, and how did NSR Cell help?
So warning signs, yes, for sure. Basically, specifically when it came to understanding, like I said, the foundational aspects. I already was in a business, but I realized that through the lean canvas, I understood that my business ecosystem was very vague in my head. I did not really understand the importance of all the 8 or 9 parameters that you have to map, and how are they influencing each other in the way that you have to run your business. So your viewpoint of your entire business changes, the way you're looking at it. What is the kind of say how Suresh sir and Naga sir and emphasizing on the fact that it's the story telling, and it's the belief in your story that you have, and the conviction that you have in your story. And to be very honest, you need validation at times, and you need validation from the people you are inspired by and you admire, and that can really encourage you in your entrepreneurial journey. So for me, like I said, it was a very difficult niche that I picked up, and very different positioning, and therefore being in a city where I'm remote, not having access to many incubation platforms, not having any groups of women entrepreneurs really around you. Having this ecosystem itself and then having that structure of a program in place really helped me understand the basics of my business. And right from understanding the measurement of the metrics and how to evaluate what metrics are important, and then how you measure them to be able to achieve success for your business. I think everything is very critical, and the learning is just ongoing. It never stops. So I wouldn't say that I've learned it all. It's ongoing and it's everyday learning.
Aditi, you would like to, share your bits of it.
Yes. So coming across so many entrepreneurs from diverse platforms, regions, different strengths and expertise and skill sets, coming into one ecosystem was only NSR Cell, right? And that gave me so much courage and confidence also. I would only say that when women entrepreneur, how could navigate easily also, or I was able to maybe navigate is because I didn't like we judge anyone, right? So like by not judging anyone and just being yourself, help me navigate the because so many women founders coming in one platform is a challenge, and also a blessing as well at the same point of time. So everybody has their own emotions, everybody has their own set of feelings and way of life, way of how they have grown, how they see things, right? There are so many perspectives to the same thing, right? So the cohort was a big learning, and it was very exciting as well, because we used to and still we are very much active in the group, right? And we are like, whether we are crying or whether we are sharing our joys or whether we are asking for help, everything comes in the group first. right? And it's like an unbiased group where we are not expecting anything in return. We are doing it so much with heartful, with willingness to help everyone. It is coming from the soul, you know. So that kind of bonding is only what NSRCL can give. Is I can challenge everyone in the whole entire world. So because I've seen so many other groups and communities, organization, not incubation centers particularly, no, so many communities that they are paid to become some membership, right? They pay and become members, and then they say they help each other in businesses, and so many. So I have never been part of any such communities, because I believe that by giving it out with wholehearted, with soul, like as I say, soul warming food, a soul nourishing food. So giving everything with soul without asking anything in return and without having any expectation, that's the best thing that anyone could have, which none of the money or even any any award, anything could match or give deliver, right? So during this incubation program, we had different groups, and we used to have different learnings, like we were going through the first time experiencing Zoom, right? And it was my, just to share quickly in a minute, like we were first time experiencing Zoom, and digitally everything was happening, and I was like totally unaware of so many things, right? So even everyone, so my cohort members were helping me with Zoom recording, how to do recordings and submit sessions, and how everybody, we used to wake up whole night, discuss, and like it was more than a family thing during the COVID lockdown. And we bonded so well. WSP3 and even 4, I believe, is very, very good cohort, and it's amazing to know about WSP4 as well. So we were such a blessing, right? And we all helped each other navigate so much the strength, that the bonding is so strong. And Ankita ma'am also is part of one of the group, and she might be seeing messages how it is goes. And we are all there for each other. We are motivating each other, giving support to each other, shouting for each other. It is a lifelong. You can never ask it by paying someone, that is coming free. And it is all because of the kind of program that NSRCL runs. And it's kind of because of the professors and mentors, and Ankita ma'am herself is here because of the such eminent mentors and professors, that the cohort is running so successfully. And it's a blessing in disguise, right? It's a anyone coming to NSRCL, they have a huge transformation, not only on the financial aspect, but as I said earlier, also in the individual's behavior as well. Like from Naga sir, I see him as guru always and mentor, Naga sir and Professor Suresh and Professor Handa. But Naga sir, I've learned so much from him, and we are also trying to fit in the best way as an entrepreneur, as a founder promoter, that I can do my best to justify myself by being part of NSRCL, right? So we cannot do injustice to anyone. Forget about the whole world, the cohort members also. We are there for everyone, every time, anywhere, right? And similarly, we have done a lot of collaborations. So Ankita ma'am, as was asking, so we have collaborated with All About Architecture. They are our ESG consultants, so we do ESG reporting also. And similarly, we have many other female entrepreneurs who have been doing different things, and we are part of the collaboration part. And WSP4 also, now we are collaborating with Xiang's kombucha, right? Sparkling tea. So similarly, many ways. So it's the whole universe is actually inside NSRCL, if only that one will look out for, right? There are technology, like tech, IT people, there are product-based people, there are service-based people, there are everyone, every expertise is inside the alumni forum, right? So we can be part of everyone, and give strength to each other, and also work in harmony and in alignment with resources towards each other, and nurture and grow together, right? and in the right manner as an entrepreneur. So these all values that I've learned from Naga sir and Professor Suresh especially has imbibed deeply and etched so deeply in my individual behavior as well, that I cannot do so many things that even being a founder, I cannot do so many things which are not of the value to the organization or to the way of life.
No, totally. I think WSP3 was a COVID batch altogether. So that's why Aditi is mentioning about how we actually started with even struggling with Zoom. And I think it was the only incubator who was functioning throughout. So we took that courage of kicking off with WSP, and the entire part of, it really bonded us together. Similarly, the entire, the learnings or the good memories that WSP 3.0 had. So WSP 4 carried it out by, collaborating with each other. So that was something that we really saw in terms of how much businesses they did with each other, right? So Naga sir, we speak a lot about product companies. So any advice that you can quickly, share about for the services, the ones who come from the services background?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I think the services is always very interesting, because if you look at the developed countries, so the contribution to GDP is coming highly from services industry, right? So it is probably in terms of the limelight, I don't think they'll get the enough limelight that they deserve, but that service plays a major role. Like, for example, what Shruti Shetty example I mentioned about providing service, goodbye services, that is one part. But the other part, what we have seen is about the services are all personal dependent, right? That means that if I'm providing a service, I'm going to scale if I need a growth. And if the growth is directly proportional to number of people I would employ, and that may provide a hindrance, right? If you look at today, IT industry, they're all services company, right? They're all billion-dollar companies, but they employ like thousands of people that would provide that service. But how do we manage the service company? That is where you can try to templatize, right? So if you are an architect, and if you are providing accounting services or whatever the services that you're providing, can you start creating templates so that you can hire people, and you can maybe take probably in confidence and train more people, do franchisees, so that these are all the ways that you can scale the services business as well. And that is going to be really, really important for you to scale. That is the one part I've seen in the 10K program. Almost 60% of the entrepreneurs are all in service industry. So if I ask them, that is, what is the one thing that they have learned? I'm sure always the thing is about confidence. The next comes as a delegation part, right? So when you're in a services industry, you are selling your services that you started, right? You may be an architect, you started providing that service, you're getting better at it. So that means the entire business is revolving around you, or even a doctor, right? So we have seen a lot of doctors as well starting a venture, providing services. It is about revolving about you, right? The service that you provide. There is nothing wrong, but you need to decide at that some point, from that single person service to how can you become an entrepreneur, and whatever and document processes, systems, so that you're able to train multiple people that they can take that forward. It could be skilling, it could be education, it could be architecture, accounting, any kind of services that you name it. I think that's the best way that you can probably scale it. But that is the part I've seen that people are a little reluctant about. What if I train somebody on my trade secrets, right? Whatever I'm doing, and they will run away and do that. I think that's the fear stopping some of them to scale. I think this always happened, right? Apple copies from Samsung. Apple cannot protect its own innovation. There's the US has very strict laws on IP protection. Even there, Samsung blindly copied the touchscreen what Apple developed, and Apple could not defend. So if you can't, if we keep looking at is that, what if somebody's going to copy? I think we cannot build businesses at all. It is okay. The best way you'll be is you stay ahead, right? Still, Apple is staying ahead because of the innovation, because the ability that they're able to do that, let as many people copy, but you provide the DNA, you build a DNA that is strong in whatever that you are providing. So that is how you will build a strong brand for yourself, and you will be able to scale as well. So trust people. It's okay. I'm sure few mistakes will happen. Someone will run away. All that will happen, but that should not hinder you for progress, right? So if you start worrying about that as the hurdle, and then you are stuck about you as the only person providing services, you may not be able to scale. This is a major fear I've seen in many of these entrepreneurs, because in the 10K program, we do this, push them to put a, business plan canvas on growth. And all the services folks have this one problem to, present, that how will I scale? What if somebody else will take this and go away? And don't worry, I think if you stay ahead on your innovation, whatever the service that you're providing, I'm sure you will be successful. Yeah.
Thank you, Naga sir. I mean, because usually we get a lot of, these confusions in their head about services-based startups. But like you said, it's very important to templatize. At the same time, also look at scaling, right? So that's where there is a bit of gap. I'll take, since due to paucity of time, we're a bit overshot, but we can take up like 2 questions for Aditi and Rashi. I think for Aditi, there's a question from somebody in the chat. What was something unconventional that you did in your business, and how did it pay off? And if NSRCell has been able to support you in any way.
Something very unconventional was being part of NSRCL, I guess, because it was not planned at all in my life, coming across NSRCL and coming across the values and systems, and also the business aspect as well, learning and understanding. And yes, this was because during the COVID, that when we were unsure, everyone was unsure of what would happen the next day, right? What would happen the next phase, and what next? So businesses were getting shut down, and so many things were happening. At that very point of time, NSRCell came to me as a blessing, as I always say, and because of NSRCell, so only I have been able to be here and speak about today, and be amongst our honorable Professor Suresh and Naga sir, to be because at that point of time we would be seeing them and listening so deeply, right, and learning from them, and it's such a blessing. So yes, this was, I think, one unconventional way which I had never planned of or thought of even. And but that gave us so much of strength and courage to navigate and charter through the COVID and lockdown, and coming out of it, and also being able to build a successful venture, right, with values and systems more engraved in it, and to be aligned with the resources and stakeholders, and to work together in harmony with everyone, not seeking just for oneself or ourselves, but working in alignment with everyone. So yes, and coming up across Professor Handa is a very, very respected professor as well, and he was also one of the guiding light, right, for us, and who was the one who kept us focused. So coming through NSRCL, I would say that I was just like so much focused in the whole 1.5 year, right? Growing through the milestones, trying to achieve the milestones, being so focused about what we are doing and why we are doing, and getting our OKRs and sprint activities. It used to be so much fun, and so I never imagined that entrepreneurship would be so much more fun as well. Right, so this was a most beautiful journey, and NSRCL has helped me in every aspect, in understanding, as I said, the sprints, OKRs, and milestones, the lean canvas, BMC, meeting all the high dignitaries like Sir Philip Kotler, Sudha Murthy ma'am, and everyone, hearing them speak. Coming across Malvika ma'am, so many that from every mentor and every professor, we have learned different values and different systems, which has given us so much. So NSRCL is there for this my entire life, and I believe that it should come into every in every should be part of NSR cell somehow or the other, because it is the only place that I will give the right ecosystem. It's the right institution for an entrepreneur.
Thank you so much, Aditi, for those, very kind, being very always kind as always. So our program, will help to address these challenges head on, providing women entrepreneurs with not only the knowledge and the thinking, but like we said, a very community driven, milestones driven as well. So you also get a bit of grants when you actually achieve those milestones in the incubation phase. So make sure that whoever has applied for the program or planning to apply, make a note of that. So thank you so much, everyone, for being part of today's discussion. Professor Suresh had to step out because he had a class, but Naga sir, thank you so much always for being so supportive towards us. I hope we had an incredible session, which is filled with valuable insights, inspiring stories by Aditi and Rashi, as well as Naga sir and Professor Suresh. I mean, we can keep talking and talking, but
Absolutely.
of time we might have to take maybe another LinkedIn Live too, when we actually go into the program. So it also helped us deep dive into the unique challenges, the opportunities which are faced by women entrepreneurs today. So as I conclude, I want to remind everyone that the journey doesn't end here. The connections made, the lessons learned, the opportunities identified during this program will continue to grow and evolve. So let's carry forward the spirit of collaboration and fostering the growth of innovation at the same time as we work together to build a more inclusive entrepreneurial ecosystem. So have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Rashi. Thank you, Aditi. Thank you, Naga sir. From the bottom of my heart, I cannot, thank enough. But connect with you soon, like always. Keep budding us, keep mentoring us with your useful advice.
So,
Naga sir.
Ankita, if I can just add a last bit of quantification, if anybody is still looking and are sitting on the edge for the program. When I joined NSR Cell, Alana was doing somewhere around 30,000 units of sales. And till date, we've touched 5 lakhs. So I
Wow.
think that's a very
Awesome.
big jump. And I'm
Awesome.
very sure that a lot of credit actually goes to the mentors, the professors, and you guys, who've been a part of my journey. So I really would recommend this program to everybody with all sincerity of my heart.
Naga sir,
Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, Aditi. Ankita, always, I think you execute this program flawlessly. Amazing, amazing job. I think we are in 5. I'm sure we'll be celebrating probably 25 as we are doing in the Goldman Sachs as well.
Yes. I have an excellent team behind me. So for all those who haven't, are seeing only me on the screen, there's a team which is behind. There's a lot of hard work which has been put in, right from the design, right from coordinating, right from making sure that we are able to collectively be a part of each of your journey. So kudos to my team as well. Thank you, Rashi and Aditi. We will connect offline as well. But yeah, have a wonderful evening, everybody, and we'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.
Oh,
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much,
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Professor
everyone.
Naga. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Aditi.
everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Yeah, waiting for your momos next when you visit Bangalore next.
Yes, absolutely. We are there in Mysore in a very small outlet.
Yeah, open one in IM also.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Your blessings,
Yeah,
yes,
thanks,
are
Aditi.
always there. Yes,
Sure.
thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Ankita. Bye-bye.
Yes, yes.